faut jamais abandonner. Everything I wear is purple. Everything I do is local. La moula, la moula. C'est Dieu qui l'a. Toujours au boulot de dope. L'objectif privé, moi je veux ça. La moula, la moula. The Jackie don't know. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being on time. Hi, Fwa. Hi, Mark. Yes, so you can't wait. Hi, Alice Kelly. Hi, Lord's Favor. Leke. Hi, Mayun Singh Gender. Hi. Hi. Thank you guys so much for being here. No, the host wasn't doing hide and seek. The host was sharing. So that was My Way by Stanley Eno and Stanley Eno Loco and Tizi Panchak. So it's one of my favorite songs, and it happens to be our main guest of tonight's favorite song as well. So I'm really excited. Thank you guys so much for joining. Good evening. Welcome to the Woman Experience. If you're joining for the first time, my name is Goretti. I'm the host of the show, and typically the way it works is I have the main guest, or in this case, guest, who are the main guest, and then I've got you. You're not the audience, you are my guest. So through whichever medium you're watching, you consider yourself a guest of ours tonight. So we welcome you. The Woman Experience is a wonderful platform that we have created where we can all learn via our shared experiences. And this is what we do here every Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 p.m. on UK time. So always check what time it is in the UK too when you're doing it. Trying to find out what time to watch it at your end. So it's always UK time. Currently we're at the same time as Central Africa. So, and that's Cameroon included. So yeah, 8 p.m. Wednesdays and Fridays, we host the Woman Experience, and we learn, we share. If you're visiting for the first time, please stay, like our page, watch this is almost episode 39. So we have 39 fantastic episodes, learning conversations, explosive conversations. But the goal here is to learn, is to always learn. And that's what we're doing tonight. We are learning as well. Tonight I am so excited because what we're talking about today is something that I know that I've experienced firsthand, in the sense that I personally know somebody whom I can now understand was dyslexic. We're talking about dyslexia. How often have you heard, especially if you're from Africa, Cameroon in particular, heard a child in the neighborhood or in your class throughout your schooling that was referred to as very dull? That child that always came last in class, not because they didn't put any effort, but just because for some reason they couldn't really make it. And we never really understood it. Not that every case was dyslexia, but I am very, very, very sure that a lot of those young people and children were dyslexic, but we just didn't know, as many things that we didn't know. So tonight, our conversation is on dyslexia. And what is dyslexia? Dyslexia, as defined by the nhs.co.uk, is a common learning difficulty that can cause problems with reading, writing, and spelling. It's a specific learning difficulty, which means it causes problems with certain abilities that are used for learning, such as reading and writing. So unlike a learning disability, intelligence isn't affected in dyslexia. So that's what we're talking about today. And I am so excited and truly humbled by that our guests for tonight trusted us enough to share their story with us. We have Dr. Cecilia Fomenki Njende. Dr. Cecilia Fomenki Njende is a pediatrician, and she specialized in nutrition,
She's living and working in Cameroon. She's also a double certified John Maxwell leadership and parenting coach and co-founder of Happy Family Parenting. She's married and has 3 sons, and one of those handsome boys is her son John Jenden Jr., who is first guest. And John is a 15-year-old Cameroonian teen with a story unlike many others. After being diagnosed with dyslexia at an early age, thank God, he has come to overcome his label and all those around him. I mean, you will hear him speak and you will understand what I mean by that. He's quite passionate about music and education, and he's recently written a research paper on educational psychology. Remember, he's 15. He's written a research paper on educational psychology. We are so glad to have him as our guest and on the show today, and I hope you will as well. So, without further ado, I'm really excited to bring Junior to the stream. Hi, Junior.
Community.
Hi. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good and quite excited to be here today.
I am too. I mean, I am too. You are just a wonder, really. That's what you are. And I am so, so proud of you. And I'm just going to go in straight into it. And I know for sure that you have a lot of your aunties and loved ones that are watching. So do you want to say hello to them?
Yeah. Hi, and thank you so much for being here. It means a lot.
It certainly does. And I'm so, so proud of you for offering to come on and share your story with us, because it's a brave act. And I applaud you for that. So, John, tell me, you're 15 years old, living in Cameroon. Tell me what you're up to right now.
I I just started my first year online. That's virtually at African Leadership Academy, and unfortunately, I've not been able to get there on campus because of the current outbreak.
Hmm.
But in addition to that, I am working on my music passion. I play the piano, and lately I've been working on the Nocturne in C sharp minor by Frederick Chopin. And a couple of months ago, I completed a research paper with a professor from Oberlin College. And I was basically investigating student satisfaction in public and private secondary schools with their mathematics educational methods and teaching employed. I also have gotten the ability to start up and manage as well as build the tech component of a couple of social enterprises, including Africa Open Up, which
Hmm.
was a site for teenagers to get peer help and peer counseling through their life as teenagers. And I'm quite excited to be here once more.
How have you achieved all of those things at 15? Like how? I mean, that's a lot. Do you realize that's a lot of stuff?
Well, yeah, I think.
What's your motivation to just keep learning? Because you're at the really prestigious African Leadership Academy in South Africa. For those who don't know, please do your research on that. It's a really prestigious leadership academy that's primarily there to groom our next leaders, the next leaders of Africa. And at 15, you are a part of that academy. I can't even. I mean, I am so so proud of you because it's my dream for one of my children, to go to that academy. But John, tell me what's your motivation? What pushes you to keep learning?
I just feel that the fact that we have the breath means that we have to give it out because every single human is not here to just enjoy or just have fun and play and everything.
Mhm,
At the end, what really matters is how much you gave out and how much you helped people around you, what change you brought. And, me having to go through a struggle trying to learn and then finally kind of having the grasp of and mastery of my learning styles and how to do well gives me that commission to give it out as much as possible and not, stay latent or complacent or just happy and comfortable about it. So, yes, as a human, we need, as humans, we have that need to give out, and that's what just drives me. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I need your mom on this show because your mom needs to tell us what she did to raise such an eloquent and very intelligent young man. And where's mom? Is she here?
Yeah.
Yeah, hello, everybody.
Hi,
Hi.
hi, Doc. Well, did you listen to your son? Could you hear John speak?
I heard part of it. Yes. Hello, Auntie
He,
Dorothy, and everyone on the show. Hello.
hello. So
It's a
everyone,
pleasure to be here.
yeah, thank you so much. This is mom. This is Dr. Cecilia Fomenki Njende, and she's the mother of this brilliant young man who's just been wowing us. All I can see in the comments is you're amazing, amazing, wow, superstar. Just by listening, listening to you. And mom, you tell me that John was dyslexic? Like how? Tell me
Yes,
about it.
yes. You know, John was dyslexic, but I wouldn't have known he was dyslexic
Mm-hmm.
until I just wanted to have my first son learn.
Yeah.
And he was slow in speaking. He started speaking after 2 years of age. He was monosyllabic. He could say mama, papa, fish, meat, or water, tata, and all of that before two, but that was it. He did not have any conversation. He would look at people and you say anything, he just nods, or he wasn't really able to communicate early.
Mm-hmm.
And that started bothering me. And I took him to the first nursery school. He was really unable to go through letters and numbers like his peers. And so it was really difficult for him to even communicate with the kids in his own class. And
Yeah.
they actually said it's the lone child syndrome. But when I was with him at home and tried to help him with letters,
Mm-hmm.
he would confuse everything. I didn't know what he was confused about. And it was like 3 years of age. I was already worried. So I had to start looking. I started shopping for a school because the nursery school where he was, just to try out things, it was in a daycare, not even a nursery school. But he was very scared because the teacher beat somebody else. So
Mm-hmm.
when she beat somebody else, he was so scared he did not go to school for a week plus. He would scream and cry. Somebody who had really loved going to school,
Mm-hmm.
he was just afraid of going to school. So at the end of the year, during the holidays, I started looking for a school where I would not have him go under that stress if he were not able to learn, because I started having at the back of my mind that he's having a problem and I didn't have a name to it.
Mm-hmm.
I put everything, I put everything on hold and started shopping for a school from, I went to so many schools, to other people like who were like inspectors, pedagogists, who said I should look for an international school where they would probably help you more. They don't beat in those settings. Just try something else if you don't want him to be beaten. Well, he could get over it if he were beaten and
So
it will
yeah, so,
pass.
so hold on. So they just assumed that uh, so did you explain to them that he was having difficulties reading, or or it was just that he was scared of being beaten?
I explained that if he only had that fear of being beaten when I
Mm-hmm.
was at home with him, he would be comfortable. But he was not. He still couldn't learn the letters,
Wow.
simple letters. Even if I took vowel consonants, he wasn't able to learn. Both my parents and my both in-laws are all educationists. So,
Yes.
and I was a babysitter for so many kids who were 10 in my family. So I knew exactly what age kids started recognizing letters and
Yeah.
numbers, at least, even if it's one. If I showed you one letter or number for a week or two, you would recognize it afterwards. He couldn't recognize one letter for a month. So I knew there was a problem. And I started shopping and started looking, and people were saying he's too young to recognize the letters.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, to cut a long story short, I found somebody with the Montessori system in Cameroon. and they were actually starting the Montessori school that year. And
Mm-hmm.
when I talked about it, they said, well, we have didactic material. We're going to help him and we'll find out what problem he's having. And
Mm-hmm.
that's actually how we went on. I
Mm-hmm.
registered him in the school for that. Like, let's try. I was just like, I'm trying this.
Mm-hmm.
And they said they weren't really in a rush to give me a diagnosis. He had to stay on for a while and they understood what he was struggling with.
Yes.
And that was actually the journey where it started. And they were
Wow.
able to put a label on it, told me it was mild to moderate dyslexia,
Mm-hmm.
and it was 3 and 3 plus. And so they worked with him for another 3.5 years, almost 4 years before he got through it. And that is how I learned how it
Mm-hmm.
works.
Yeah.
There were so many times I was not supposed to help him at home because I quite didn't understand where he was on his journey, learning those letters, those words, and everything. So that's actually how we got through that.
So, for those who don't know, Montessori is a method of education that's based on self-directed activity, like hands-on learning, collaborative play, and children are encouraged to be creative in their learning. Right?
Yes.
That yeah. So
And
that's that.
yeah, they
Sorry.
actually follow the child. They
Yeah.
actually followed, meaning they would let the child lead them to where his difficulty or his struggle is, and
Yeah.
then they could keep past that and still let him go the next step. So it was different from me telling him, "This is what I want you to learn." It was it was so
Yeah.
different, and the learning
Yeah.
approach changed because he was very good at pictures. He could tell a story from a picture, and
Yes.
they
Come,
understood it
let's
clearly.
let me just interrupt you there, Doc. Sorry. So, at 3.5, he was diagnosed. When you were going through that, trying to figure out what was wrong with him, what did people think? Did people?
Well, it was like, oh, he's a lone child, he doesn't talk with other children often, even though I made sure he stayed with his cousins, and the
Yeah.
cousins would be like, this child doesn't talk, I don't want to play with him. He couldn't communicate,
Yeah.
and he would stare at people for a long time when they are talking. Probably he had a problem with auditory sequencing,
Mhm.
what people were saying,
Yeah.
and it was difficult for him. Now, on my part, it was like, oh, you're too worried about the child. He's still young. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's extravagant going to pay some kind of money to somebody just to correct a child. Meanwhile, he's still 3.5. I mean, wait for it when he is 6 or 7. You
Yes.
know,
That's what they say. Yes.
that's what they say. But if I didn't, I think if I didn't help him at that time, it would have been real severe at 6 or 7
Yes.
because it got over 8 by 7. And
So
it
it's
was clear all through that he was having learning difficulties,
something.
reading, spelling, writing. It
Yes.
was it was that way all through. And if there wasn't this specialized way of helping him, he may really have been in trouble and would have put him on the dull child set,
Yes.
outside of those children
Yeah,
or
which
slow
we are so
learning.
quick. Yes, Doc, which we are so quick to do in Cameroon. So if there's any mother who is watching now who has a dyslexic child, or who feels that okay, their child may be having difficulties with learning, or but whose child is older than say 3.5, what would you advise that mother now, or father or parent in general?
Honestly, I would say you have to do all it takes. You have to put in all your energy to help that
Mhm,
child out. Because
mhm,
behind the children, you have a lot of gifts. They are gifted in other things.
mhm.
And these children need just a little push, a little help to get
Yeah,
past it. And they
yeah,
wouldn't really need much of your help. later on. They
Mm-hmm.
need you to help them have that background, that foundation of learning, being able to read. That's just the foundation of learning.
Yeah.
Help them master it, help them go through it, be patient. Do not be fast to shout or beat him or her, or
Mm-hmm.
compare them with other children, because it was easy for us to compare John with his little brother Roman, who was
Yeah.
so fast. He spoke very fast and he learned faster. They could
Mm-hmm.
usually, most of the time, they're 3.5 years apart, but when he started learning, he was able to do. I realized his pace was so much faster and easier for
Mm-hmm.
me. Yeah, and so it was more of giving in your all. I was ready to go to any length. I tried the UK, I mean, online. I didn't travel there personally, but I tried to get people online to help me.
Mm-hmm.
I searched. I didn't even have a name to it. I went to schools. I went to different schools to like shop and find out, um, could they help in this situation. And
Yes.
it was really a concern. But a lot of people thought I shouldn't be concerned. But I think it was good at that age to
Mm-hmm.
have worried.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
because they say that the earlier it is diagnosed, the quicker you can start working with the child. John, do you have any recollection of this part of your life?
Yes, I do, but not as many as my mom would talk about. So I do remember having problems with my B's and D's and my Q's and P's, as they looked quite similar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I also remember having, problems getting through with division and multiplication
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, which would get me in trouble, or get me an occasional uh, an occasional spanking. But yeah.
But so did you at school, well, as I mean, as far back as you can remember, did you have any issues where children, did children laugh at you? Did children even know that you had learning difficulties?
The Montessori experience was so inclusive that, like, you wouldn't have that kind of bullying, or and nobody actually knew that I was dyslexic.
Mm.
So my classmates, my friends, interacted with me normally, and we all understood each other.
So when mom keeps telling you you were dyslexic, how does that make you feel?
I completely understand that, because I still remember having some difficulties, but
Okay.
it also gives me that sense of, wow, there's a lot of progress which has been done from
Yeah.
when I was much younger till now, and I'm quite grateful for that.
So tell me your process of learning, because I know that when you're with dyslexic children, you learn completely different from how we learn. So tell me how it works in your mind when you're trying to learn something new.
Cool. So I think I got this from the Montessori experience and everything. At
Mm-hmm.
our school, we had this part of the day called free work, or free work time, and it was basically the first hour or two of the day, where we would get into a hall filled with didactic materials, and
Yeah.
we will have the freedom to pick one or two, or as many materials as we would want, and experiment and just use them to learn and aid us in understanding. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever something was taught in class, I would, get into this free work time and just pick out a material which was quite similar to what I learned.
Mm-hmm.
And these materials would usually explain the history of a particular issue which was discussed in class, or would have the representations, the physical representations. And so using that using the being able to see what I'm learning has aided me a lot. And through that experience, I got to address all my difficulties by looking up the histories of whatever thing I'm learning, as well as people who contributed to it. So to me, a theorem in physics. It's not just a theorem. It's not just abstract. It's
Yeah.
something like real people came up with. So I would, even if I understand the theorem, I would still get onto the Wikipedia page to actually understand who came up with it and why they did so, and I at least have see their faces and
Yeah.
read them. So that being able to connect with the information
Mhm.
and being able to understand it on a really down to earth basis is something that has helped me a lot in understanding material.
Wow. So you have to go and understand the history of everything, and it's for you to connect with it to learn it.
Yes,
That is
I do.
fascinating to me. That is really truly fascinating. Auntie Shanti says you were also self-driven as a student. Bravo. So yeah, because you found you were, but then like you I know you credit it to the Montessori because the Montessori way of method of education lets you lead them right to how
Yes.
you want to learn and they guide you towards that. I absolutely love that. But you had to be, and I think that has taught you to be proactive as well. In
Yes, that's
right,
true.
yes, because you're very, very
Yeah.
driven. You're very, very driven, and even though I credit it to that, what else motivates you to really? Because now there's like this quest for learning. From everything I've learned about you this past couple of weeks, you know so much, and you do it all on your own. What's driving you?
As I said before, like just the fact that I'm a human and I have that obligation, and also because of the fact that I had a struggle to deal with, the experiences and the character which was groomed through that struggle has not, they haven't left me. And also I discovered that I am actually in a very privileged position to have been able to receive that kind of attention and early diagnosis, and actually get people who care to look after my progress. And so being, in like a privileged percentage of people, I owe it to make whatever was, gotten out of me through that process to be available to as many people as possible. And
Wow,
yeah, so that's something which is quite motivating.
that's actually, my gosh, you're just a really fascinating young man. But that was a really, really good and empathetic answer. I love that. John, have you ever met any child who's dyslexic or who has any form of learning disability difficulties?
Yes, I have. So at the time I graduated primary school, that was like
Mm-hmm.
Montessori education. There wasn't any Montessori secondary institution in the entire nation. So I had to go to like
By
mainstream
nation, you
school.
mean Cameroon. By nation, you mean Cameroon,
Yes,
right?
so yeah, yeah, Cameroon. And so like I had to go to like mainstream school, and
Mm-hmm.
getting into Form 1, Form 2, Form 3s, and all those, I got to meet a number of people, like a whole broad range of people. I got to meet some people who would have problems with basic spelling in Form 1, and drafting out their characters, like the A's, the B's, and the C's, and actually writing them. And I was like, how did you get here? And like this is apparently something they're suffering and suffering with, and they have difficulties with. But the only thing that was addressed in the class was like, you're dull, you're too dull, you should go home and read, you should go home and study, you should go home and do all those kinds of things. But the thing is, they had underlying conditions which the class couldn't see, and the only
Mm-hmm.
thing which most teachers and students did was just mock them and give them labels like dull and stupid. But something I also noticed about all of them through the classes is that they all had, great potential in one or two areas which nobody else in the class could compare with. And that was usually in like the performing arts. They
Yeah.
would be excellent speakers, excellent comedians, excellent painters, they would be excellent in the artistic side of things, and they would do it to a level which is, you know, extremely impressive. So yeah, they were experiencing other people who had like learning disabilities or disorders and difficulties.
Wow. Sorry about that distraction. So, Mara Williams says, informative. African mothers out there with dyslexian children really need to hear about this. And Auntie Bibi says, every child is unique and they develop in different ways. Some children learn through play, interactions, and their social skills are very important in life. And Auntie Julia says, self taught first, school influenced, and determination to be better than you. I love you, dear. So, I mean, thank you for that. So, with the children that you have met that have some learning difficulties, do you have you ever gone out of your way to help them, or
Yeah. So during my school time, I would have like breaks kind of occupied. So I'd say it was double sided because I was like in the in the top 1% of the class, and so it's but normal that people would, you know, run to you to get some homework help or
yeah?
some which they don't understand. But whenever I was like faced with having to help someone who had like a disability, I think I was highly challenged because I didn't have, you know, the skills necessary to help those people. However, I would try my best by by giving them the understanding that I had. So I would represent the information in a completely different way than what like the teacher said. And
Okay.
usually when I represented that information, I would represent it in a way which makes it quite down to earth and relevant, and which makes it quite understandable. And
Mhm,
what I saw is that it helped quite a lot of people, including those who like had a normal understanding range and normal brain development, as well
mhm,
as like those who struggled with their characters, their, you know, letters and math and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that help actually progressed as I moved up a class, and that was like one of the best things I loved doing throughout my lower sixth and form five life. So like the last 2 years.
mhm.
Uh, I think I would have been much more better at helping people if I was trained. Yeah.
If you were trained, maybe you look into that. If you were to talk to the I don't know, to the Ministry of Education, if you have the opportunity to shape the Cameroon educational system, this is a big question I'm asking you.
Yep.
How would you do it?
Cool. Um, I think I didn't anticipate this question, but this is
But you can
something.
answer it. I know for sure.
Yeah. This is something which is like um really dear to me, and I think there are so many things which have to be reshaped. But there are two things I'd like the Cameroon government to focus on: educational quality and educational inclusion. Um, there are a lot of schools like in Cameroon now, and it's quite easy to see like the next school in like 5 minute drive from the last. But the
Yeah.
thing is, most of the schools are just bricks and, you know, teachers imposing their laws to students and students having to assimilate and give back. And if they're not able to do that, they are being flogged, punished, and called something stupid. Now, the school system, according to the words of the philosopher John Dewey, is supposed to be an embryonic society of tomorrow. What that means is school is not for us to be, you know, competitive and everything, but it's for us, for our characters and our potentials to be groomed to the maximum potential. So if our curriculum first could be focused on problems in, you know, our national setting, that would be a plus, making us more pragmatic in our relations with, you know, the information we get. Secondly, if our teachers are trained to understand more, I'm not complaining about my teachers. I hope none of them are listening right now, but um if our teaching system is made in such a way that the teachers understand students not as a class but on the individual level, and
Yeah.
give the help which they need per person, that would be something else which would be really great.
Yeah.
Also, if our educational system improves the quality of a number of their amenities. I know it might need some funding, but I know my country is rich. But like there are a lot of classrooms. Like I made a shift from Form 5 to Low Sith, and I moved from like a private school to a missionary school, and like the classes were quite choked up. I had to sit with 180 students in a math class where there were like half the number of benches. Now that alone demotivates a student from studying and learning, and that should be attributed to a lot of student depression and students underperformance. But everything is blamed on the student didn't read, the student didn't study. So
Yeah.
those kind of things will be addressed, and like the list goes on and on and on. And I haven't even come like to getting trained teachers in special education, because I think Cameroon is really, really behind in terms of special education for like people with dyslexia, ADHD, autism, and so many other learning disorders, which should be addressed, because every human, regardless of whatever label they have been called, have the same potential to be as impactful as any other person. So why not give them a chance? Why not make possible as many children as possible to live their lives to their fullest? Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I second that. Oshalin, who says this kid is quite extraordinary. Keep it up, my dear. And Ren Kamkul says, brilliant idea about the educational system. Truly brilliant. I hope that mom is listening. I hope as many people are listening. I hope that the Ministry of Education or minister could invite you, to come. Yes, to be the voice of the young, of the young Cameroonian student, the teenage Cameroonian student, because you have a lot to say, and you have a lot to not just say but offer the educational system that could be truly impactful if they could only put at least use 1% of what you've just said tonight. So like, yeah, Omo Universalis says future minister himself, why not, right, John?
Thank
Personalized
you.
and project-based learning is the future of education. That's from Antishati. It really is. And John, somebody could be listening to you and say, oh, well, he's speaking with an American accent. He's probably lived all his life in America or travels to America all the time. Is that who you are? Are you always in the United States for holidays?
No, absolutely not. Actually, like the first time I took a plane was last year for the Yale Young African Scholars Program, which was held in Zimbabwe. So I don't go to Europe or the United States for holidays. So yeah,
So you went to
it's
the
always
Yale, he's your Cameroon, Sample San Cameroon, right? Did you just say the
exactly.
Yale Young Scholar? What was that you said? The Yale Young Scholar what?
Yale Young African Scholars Program. It's a 1 week program held by Yale University in the US, where they
Mhm.
invite students from across Africa to experience 1 week of cultural exchange between various African students, as well as get university guidance from Yale students, as well as get to participate in great seminars by Yale professors who actually teach at the university.
Yeah.
And I got selected for the Zimbabwe session last year.
What was the selection process like, and why were you selected, John? Why do you think you were selected?
Okay. Well, long story short, actually, um, it was like 14 days to the deadline. Yeah, 14 days to the deadline, and we had a YAS alumni, Boise Ferdinand, come to our school to talk about the YAS program, and I was like, wow, this is gonna be like quite great, and I'll be able to get a lot of information from there, and get my experience knowledge, broadened. And so I
Yeah.
decided to apply, and I think I was writing the mock, like, yeah, third sequence or mock, one of those exams, because it was like 1 5. And anyways, I quickly got to my essays. You had to write 3 essays. The
Mhm,
first prompt was, what does it mean to be an African in the 21st century? I think I
mhm.
wrote that essay a few times and, got corrected and like, but anyways, I got through a great process of refining my writing, and as well as getting recommendation letters from amazing teachers at school,
Yeah.
and so yeah, and also um, and also getting mentorship from a YAS alumni. So I think what got me into the YAS program was the fact that I wasn't like this academic person only.
Okay.
I also had a strong niche in music, which I have basically kept for most of my life. And that fact, the fact that I wasn't like just this guy who wants the grades and wants to get a job and stuff like that, but who actually wants to combine, you know, um, passion and purpose to impact, I think, is what set me apart from the other applicants.
You're saying that, and I'm thinking that even for us here, because a lot of the times when we're applying for like jobs, you're very, very focused on your experience and your abilities, and you forget that the Western, especially I see it in a lot of university applications and especially schools in America, they are very much interested in extracurricular activities that you are involved in, especially those that show some kind of leadership capabilities. So I mean, you're thinking, and I think that I'm throwing it out there to us who are already out here in the diaspora and to groom our young people there, our young children as well. There is great benefit in giving them an extracurricular activity apart from just getting those grades. They need to feel like they're all-rounded students, and we need to remember that ultimately they're often looking for leaders. So think of those different extracurricular activities that can groom them to have great, like Auntie Shanti is saying, soft skills, interpersonal and problem solving skills. Those are oftentimes what they're looking for. So I applaud your parents for that. So when you talk about you have a great niche in music, what what is that? What kind of music is that?
Okay. Classical music, actually, to be more precise. So I think one of the things which also contributed to advancing my progress with dyslexia was getting into music. And a lot of neuroscience research have proven that music excites the brain and is like a full workout of the brain, which gets every single part of the brain activated. So
Right.
when you play an instrument, you're connecting both lobes of your brain and you're getting every single part of your brain engaged. So this engagement actually helps in speeding a lot of processes of understanding and reading, as well as mathematical capabilities. And because I was introduced to the piano at like age 6, um, I think actually changed a lot of things and helped me actually overcome dyslexia. So I was introduced to classical music playing, and I have been able to play the works of people like Johann Sebastian Bach, play Chopin, and I played a little jazz, but my like best pieces come from Chopin's nocturnes, which are romantic pieces which were written in the 19th century. And
Mhm.
yeah, just being able to like play the piano, I started hating it. I actually started by not even wanting to play it, but just the fact that my mom forced me,
Yeah.
which I'm very grateful for
It was a
now
recommendation.
when I look for it, when I look back, has contributed a lot. Yeah.
Honestly, see, John, you're just extraordinary. And mom, you need to come back and show your face. I think dad, but I know dad likes to keep. But where's mom? Mama, come to the
I
screen.
I did not
I
force him. It was a
Gosh.
recommendation. from school to get
No,
him involved in music so
yes.
he could speed up his process of learning.
No, but
I just wanted to make sure.
even if you forced him, it benefited him in the long run, because a lot of the times we can be really soft on our children, and then when they don't want to do something, it we let it go just because we don't want to be too hard on our children. But sometimes tough love is the best love, because you encouraging, in your work, encouraging in John's eyes, forcing him to do music, that's the result. Like he said, neuroscientists have proven that classical music truly activates the brain. I think that you're giving me something. These children are going to die of classical music in this house from now henceforth.
Actually, Antigorenti, it's any instrument because most instruments are played with both hands. So
Yes.
even the drum, whatever it is, the xylophone, everything uses both hands.
Yeah.
And the use of both hands, because when you are right-handed, your left brain is stimulated more. Your
Yeah.
left-handed is the right brain. So when you use both hands for an activity daily, even if
Yeah.
it's 15 minutes, it kind of, we exercise the muscles of the skin of our, but we exercise our mental muscles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that actually for kids works perfect, especially if you start before the age of 10. It's wonderful. It helps them really process because the repetitive movements to get a rhythm helps the
Yeah.
neural connections, the neural connectivities of the brain to actually be one faster, as he says, and keep that connectivity, and the child understands and learns better.
That is
Yeah, and
brilliant.
also
Yeah.
because music has aspects of tempo and patterns and melodies, harmonies, scales, everything. Getting to play on an instrument, respecting all those,
Yes.
gets your brain actually focused and trains it to get to learn how to focus more and
Yeah.
understanding.
Mhm.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if I mentioned that they're joining us from Yaoundé, Cameroon. So if the internet is acting up, yeah, it is Cameroon. But see, honestly, I'm blown away. Like, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Woman Experience. And we're talking to John and his mom, Dr. Cecilia Fomenkin Gender. We're joining us from Yaoundé, and we're talking on dyslexia. And for those of us who have been listening to John talk for the past 45 plus minutes, you would not believe it when John says he was dyslexic as a child. I mean, John is a living example that even if you're currently dealing with a child, I'm just going to get them off the stream. If you're currently dealing with a child that's dyslexic, there is hope. There really is hope, because especially with the right guidance, look at what can. Exactly. Such a gifted, yes, Gwen Douglas is such a gifted, talented, and humble young man. Our future. He really is. If you have a child who has some form of learning disability, please don't give up hope. Look at John with the right guidance. As a parent, do your research, do as much research as you can to find out the different ways. I think the two things we've learned here is, I mean, the mom has told me a lot that she gives a lot of credit to the Montessori method of education. And for those of us in the diaspora, we have so many numerous Montessori schools all around us. So if you have a child suffering from a learning disability, please look to the Montessori method of education. I'm sure there are many others, but that's just one that definitely helped John. Again, music, and I know that because in my research on this, I know that music is a very useful tool, like the mom was explaining, to connect both sides of the brains. And any instrument connecting both sides of the brains is very important for the brain development and to aid with that. So I'm really truly hoping that they come back, because this has been a really, really fascinating conversation. But oh my gosh, okay, his auntie says, please mention that he passed 11 O levels, 10 A's. My God, I bet, let me clap for John. I am so proud of him. Hi, Loom. Oh my goodness. Hi, Bodney. Wow. So you're on Facebook. This is amazing. Wow. And he's only 15. John is only 15. Wow. That's amazing. I really hope that they can come back so that mom can answer a few more of our questions. Please, if we have any questions, let's put it out there so that mom can come back and respond to them. So some parents would instead skin your poor child alive or take you to church for exorcism. My dear sister, my dear sister, I know, I know, I know. Okay, they're back. Oh, thank God. Hi, John. That's okay. We couldn't have let you go like that. So, mom, bring them. Mama, come. That's okay. Where's your mom? Doctor, come on the show. I want to ask you because somebody has a question. How do you know a child is dyslexic?
Well, I didn't know. So I just explained what I went through. I was
Yes.
having problems with understanding the way he was processing his information.
Mm-hmm.
So he was just having difficulties. And I must say, it may have been a range of different problems.
Mm-hmm.
But for dyslexia, it is like the child doesn't recognize letters easily.
Mm-hmm.
He would think, even when he was a little bit more advanced, when he had started learning certain letters, he could know an A, but he
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be able to differentiate a B from a D, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the positions, and then the P and G and Q. It
Yes.
all those things that go down. And so he was more of consonant dyslexic. And that was actually something I wouldn't have known, because what got me worried was he couldn't know the letter A for over a month. So I was like, if this is the situation, there must be a problem somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know it was dyslexia. I just thought maybe he was, first of all, I took him to the pediatrician, who said he was fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't think there was anything wrong.
Yes.
And she just gave him some time. Then I tried working again at home with him, and he wouldn't still learn just one letter. That's
Yeah.
what got me worried. So when I came to the specialist, who told me it was mild to moderate dyslexia, that's when I
Yeah.
even understood what dyslexia was, because it's a whole broad spectrum of learning problems.
Yeah.
Because he cannot read a certain letter, he won't be able to spell, and he may not understand even instructions from parents. So you
Yeah.
may be talking to him thinking he's understanding, but he's late in processing the information because
Mm-hmm.
he hasn't learned to learn, you know?
Right.
So it was more of kind of the school, the home, and everything together working, and then trying to come up with a solution, because the dyslexia diagnosis of dyslexia actually came on, like, you know, a, a relief when you're looking for a solution and you find the source of your problem. The solution is easier, I think,
Yeah.
because I was so relieved to know that whatever he was struggling with, had a name.
Yes.
So I would say to any parent that if your child is struggling, always look for the name to what it is and a solution.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So somebody's
I think
asking.
it is very vital.
Yes, yes, you see. Somebody's asking at what age, Tessie's asking at what age was that? I think you mentioned it earlier, but
Yeah, 3.5, 3.5.
three and
A
a half.
lot of people, even the experts, would actually say you should wait till 5. But I just explained because I had understood, I had been with a lot of children. My both parents are still, well, they're educators. My both in-laws, mother and father-in-law, are all educators. So it was worrisome.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it will be, well, let's just wait to be one of the late learners. But
Yeah.
I would not have, I may have just stayed till 5 and then waited for the diagnosis, but it would have been a little bit more difficult. And I was ready, knowing there was a problem. I wanted it to be solved as early as possible, so I wouldn't blame myself yesterday. I mean, like yesterday, that I did not do something to
Yeah.
help on time.
Yeah.
Because if I waited 5 and somebody told me, well, if you came a year ago, we would have done something. You know,
I
that's what went on in my mind. Like, let me find the solution as fast as possible so I don't
mhm.
have to regret knowing that I was already suspecting there was a problem.
So there's another question from Mayun Singh Jende, your auntie. I'd like to know, do you heal from dyslexia or is it a permanent condition?
Okay. Can I go for that?
Yes, John, sure.
So, well, um, according to like the specialist, you don't outgrow your disability, but you overcome it. And once you overcome it, you the kind of characteristics of that disability which existed earlier would regress and regress to such a level which it's actually not there's no way you can differentiate between someone who has overcome dyslexia and someone who never had dyslexia. So yes, you can overcome it, but not like outgrow it. So there may be one or two little downsides to it, which would still be there, but at a very, very, very tiny level. But yes, it's really 100% possible to overcome it. Yeah.
So, wow. So, John, so now, yeah, wait, you're 15 and would you have been in upper six now? Are you in upper six? What class are you in now?
Like yes, according to the Cameroonian system, I would have been in opposite right now.
Upper six at 15. Wow. In our time, we had like 21-year-olds in upper six. But that tells you, like, mom, now that you're saying how brilliant, how extraordinary John has become, how does it make you feel? And I know it's easy to say, I don't know, but how does it make you feel when you watch this child that started from
Mhm.
that, from dyslexia, and
Oh,
it's such an amazing, intelligent, brilliant young man? How do you feel? Is she gone?
Please come up again.
Can you guys hear me?
me? Oh,
Yes, I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
So so I'm just asking mom, listening to you, how she feels. I mean, knowing where you've come from and the journey that you've had to take. How does she feel about you? I want her to tell you and tell us.
oh, that's a trap. Trick question. But I want to say I'm very grateful to God, and I'm very grateful to everybody who helped and supported on this journey.
Mm-hmm,
Parents, both parents, supportive, especially my mother-in-law really took time with John, working
mm-hmm,
with him and trying to see his progress and comforting. She would say, okay, well, it's okay. I think it's too much for him, or we just need to wait. So all of
mm-hmm,
that helped a whole lot because it was not easy going through the whole process. And I
mm-hmm,
remember even mathematics, my father-in-law used to do a lot of mathematics with John just to help him. And it really helped him overcome because they are very patient teachers, one of the very patient teachers I know. So
mm-hmm,
he also had a lot of help from there. And it was really not easy. Friends also, sometimes it was really terrible hearing what they had to say sometimes from other friends. But the whole situation, I can say, is when you're determined to help your child and you go all in for it, God sends in
yeah,
all the resource people you need to make that work. And I don't call it my personal success. I
yeah,
always call it God's um, help and a lot of community success. I mean, a lot of people
Oh dear. Anyway, let me hope that they come back so that we can close this. But oh, they're back. Okay. Hi. Sorry, we went off.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
sorry. So where did you, where did I end?
I'm saying that it's a lot of the community success as well. Like
Yes,
you say,
I
it takes
just
a
believe
village
it's the
a
whole
child.
community. Exactly. That is actually the situation. And his teachers, and I wouldn't have. I was very worried because I didn't know the Montessori system. It was just starting, but
Mm-hmm.
the founder of the school was so supportive with the problem. She was so supportive, so
Yeah.
helpful. Dr. Kokuna, is actually a lecturer at the university as well, but she helped this child at the very, very, you know, primary nursery level. And she
Yeah.
was able to do it so wonderfully. I really appreciate what she did for him. And it helped so much to know that I had a lot of support from the school. And I
Yeah.
was able to because when I saw the progress, when everybody saw the progress, they were able to
Oh, this internet.
Every time you move, you're in different waves. Every time you
So
move,
we
you're
can
in
hear you
different
guys, but
waves.
the picture's
So if you
frozen.
want to be in a position, be in that position.
Okay, John. So I'm gonna ask you,
are you
Mom. I think I got that last bit. The Dr. Kokona was very helpful and that. So I want to ask John the last question before this internet continues faffing about. So John,
Yes, Auntie Dorothy.
what are your future plans for yourself? What I mean, your parents may have goals and plans and wishes for you, but what do you have for you, John?
Okay. Um, I would say I want to be able to merge both areas of music and education to be able to change the narrative of education in Cameroon at least, and not necessarily by being a minister, but at least by coming up with a system or a
Yeah.
school which has a different approach to education.
Mm-hmm.
How I want to do that, I look towards getting into studies of music cognition as well as cognitive sciences. So, music cognition is basically a branch of cognitive science which deals with how music affects the way people learn,
Mm-hmm.
and music cognition has been used in various institutions around the world to help people with special needs. And
Mm-hmm.
also, there's this thing called music therapy, which
Yeah.
is basically which stems from music cognition research, where people with different disabilities and disorders get aided by the use of music, from Parkinson's disease to Alzheimer's disease to autism, and so many other spectrum of disorders with music. In addition to that, I would like to concentrate in the cognitive portion of education rather than like the policy making portion, because we can make as many policies as we want, but until we understand people and children as individuals, our educational system will not be as good as possible. So yeah, music and education focusing on cognitive sciences.
Gosh, you're making me so proud. Auntie Marie has a question. She says, does it or did it affect only your studying or your social and integration skills as well?
Both, both for real. So yes, like the fact that I was late talking made
Yeah.
me, feel uncomfortable talking with other people. So most of the time I would stay quiet, and like that was me till like at least form three. And the reason I got that change was because as I grew from like Montessori education to conventional education, I got to interact with people, and then I got to see that like there's some people who are good and some people who would bully you, and so I had to speak up, and I
Yeah.
think the aspect of being bullied and having to speak up actually builds up some kind of confidence,
Yes.
and I've learned to interact from then on. Yeah.
And it's giving you such an amazing insight into life. Honestly, everyone's saying the same thing in the comments. I need to read it to you because you probably can read them. Auntie Shanti says, I need to meet John. We need to work together to change the narrative of education in Cameroon. Auntie Shanti is an educator. It's in Boston, Boston, USA, and she's doing amazing. She's a fantastic. So I would definitely link you guys up. Definitely do that. Um, Uncle George says, intelligent young man, so expressive at 15, amazing insight. Um, Auntie Tessie says, oh, this boy is so clever. 15? Wow. I just need you to hear these things, John. If I know that obviously by now your parents are used to you, but I need you to understand how wonderful you truly are. You are so, I mean, go back and watch this and maybe you'll see what we see. But even if you don't, I want you to remember all of these words, okay? Because this is truly who you are. And there's just a lot more awaiting you in the future. And I can't wait. I'm so excited for your parents. Auntie Winnie says, John, at this tender age, you've got all it takes to be the minister of education you aspire to be. Your auntie says, you always inspire me so much, John. Auntie Mag says, my late brother and second son were late talking too and grew up shy. Courage, John. John, this has been very, I mean, I don't know if I have any other questions. I'll be gutted though if I remember any questions after, because I feel like I can talk to you forever. But then you're only 15 and you're a teenager, and so you need to sleep. But I need to invite mom back. Is Mama there?
Yes, she is.
Yes. Oh,
That's okay. I'm so glad that you're letting your baby shine because this was truly his moment and he's held himself up so brilliantly. And I'm sure we're all going to leave this thing, the better for it because we all now truly have a better understanding of what dyslexia is and what support, love, and just really hands-on parenting can do to a child. All of our children who are currently dyslexic or have suffer from some kind of learning difficulty should use John, or the parents should use John as really that mantle of hope, because I mean, it's just been an amazing conversation. And I just want to thank both of you for doing this. Honestly, I appreciate it because even I have learned so much. And I think that I would be able to, be more understanding if I knew of somebody's child or somebody who was going through this, even as an adult. So somebody from Tatenda Mazambani says superb. So thank you, John. Any last words? What do you want to say to a parent? And I know I asked you that earlier, but it's very important, like I told you, that we give hope to parents whose children could be going through something like this and who are feeling like they are alone and they are at their wits' end. What would you want to say to them?
I really want to say we're in this together. You can shoot me at any time if you have any issues with that. I could help direct you. However, never, never give up. You always have to look for that silver lining in the clouds. You
Yeah,
have to be there for your children.
yeah,
Children are given to us. We are actually stewards.
that's it.
They have potential. No matter the way they come, they have their potential. Okay, for example, I would have been just complacent and he would have just been branded dull because his brother who came after him he's so bubbly, all over the place. I could compare both of them and say, hey, well, that's how you are. You're
Yeah,
always this way, you're always that way, but
yes,
you prefer somebody who is bubbly and all over the place and helping, he's outgoing. So two
yes,
of them, if you compare children, you lose them. They all come in their different, packaged with their different potential. You have
true.
to have a way of looking at them individually and helping each child, because no
Yeah,
matter how they come, they will have their struggles. It may not be learning, it may not
yeah,
be with learning, it may be something else that they need help with in order to fulfill that potential. Parents, we have to be there. We are like their coaches. They have an inner GPS. The coach doesn't play the game. The
No,
coach is there to make the player play his game. So
true.
we have to learn how to do it and
I
do
like
it with love and with patience and helping with a lot of communication because we did not learn how to communicate. We don't have too many words for a lot of things we have in life. And so
yeah,
we need to teach children to communicate so we know when they are struggling. And that is
true.
very vital for all parents. We need to be there for our kids. Work is good, but our children, I believe parenting is the first job, is the most important job. And we have
Yes,
to try as much as possible to know what is going on and helping these kids really attain their potential because nobody knows who John would have been if I didn't say, hey, I have to look for this. I was looking for all the facts. Please, parents, you have to do that for each
yeah,
child because each one of them comes in a different packaging and
yeah,
we need to be there for them. Love them, be patient, and know that we are their coach. We have to
yes.
bring their inner game out to the world.
Thank you so much. And I like that because India says here that listening to one's instinct is key. And I'm really glad that in John's case, you listen to your instinct. Auntie Ngum is asking, is John going to play something for us tonight? I wish we had thought of that. We could have planned that.
Yeah, we could have planned that. Yes.
We could have planned that next time. Next time. Auntie Mag says, Sissy, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. And Auntie Tessie, okay, I'm not going to read that because it's going to. John, how about starting up some sort of young people's LinkedIn for Cameroonian children, both in the diaspora and Cameroon? I see you as an exemplary leader for such a network, and you can do so many things at the back of that. Just an idea, and I'm happy to coach on certain aspects. Just as though you are such, just a thought as you are such a leader. And quite encouraging words there. Thank you, Mom, for being outstanding. You really have been. And Auntie Smythe said, oh, I'm blushing. I don't know why she's blushing, but I think she's so proud. So for you, John, any words to first parents who have children that are suffering from learning difficulties from your perspective, and secondly, words to maybe adults who suffered from some form of learning disability and are currently, I don't know, currently just having to cope with it. And then you could include children, young children as well in that.
Um, I'd like to say, parents, you all are doing a great job in, just caring for your children. And every single child, especially because that child, comes from you and comes from the treasures in you, have has so much potential. And
Mhm.
so um, it's in your duty to let that potential out and help the child navigate his way and his purpose and getting to do everything he was set to do at the maximum potential and maximum level he can. And you all are amazing. You can totally do that. And to those who may be suffering from like learning disabilities, I don't personally know how bad it may be at a particular age, but I still know that every person still has the potential to all the world, no matter what label is placed on them. And so they are not their labels. And
Yes.
that's why throughout history great men have come from places which we would never have expected. And so don't identify yourself with whatever label is placed on you because you didn't come with a label on your head or neck or anything. You came as you, and you deserves you to be here. And so you have that potential in you, and you can still deliver it to the world. And so um, I would encourage everyone to keep hope and keep faith and keep working towards getting the you inside of you out and getting
Mhm.
the you of people. So I'd like to say thank you once more for all the beautiful comments. And ultimately, I hope that, one person who's been listening all through would, change their perspective of those who have disabilities. And another person who's been listening would tell another person who would tell another person about another person who's been facing disabilities. And that other person would get help from another person who would
Yes.
then change his or her life and, enable that person to change the life of another person. That chain reaction continues. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. That's it. In that's exactly how I feel like, wow, that's it. Oh my. I mean, I'm actually teary eyed because I'm so proud of you. So extreme, like incredibly proud of you, John. Thank you so much. It's been my honor, honestly, to have you on my show. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what you would do with these opportunities that have been given you because with such insight and as Inda says depth and all such words you give you give me so much hope for Cameroon. You really do, and I'm so glad. I'm so proud of your parents. I'm so proud of the tribe that's around you and that's nurturing you and leading you to your potential. And I just pray God, that you live long enough to impact all these beautiful beautiful ideas that you have for our country. So gosh, the questions are just coming. Everyone's so proud of you. Listen to this 15-year-old, so brave, and I just enjoy his language power. He's got mastery of the Queen's language. Well done, my boy. Grow to greater heights. There is hope for our youth. You're such an inspiration. God bless you. Many doors are opening for you as you speak. Preach, son, do your thing. Wow. God bless you, son. How do we follow this young man's progress? It's inspiring. Mom, by the way, if you want to follow mom, if you look on the banner that's scrolling underneath the page, you would see the woman experience on dyslexia with Dr. Cecilia Fomenkin Jende and John Jr. And her Facebook page is Cecilia Fomenkin Jende. So if you want to add her, follow her, and if you need any advice or whatever, I think she's the best person through which we can get through to you, John, right? Because yes.
Yeah.
So well done, young man. Well done, my boy. You're talented beyond his years. What disability, eh? I know. Amen to that. Amen, John. Amen. Thank God for you. So, mom, come and let's say
Amen.
goodbye to our guest. It's been brilliant. I could talk forever with you, but I'm definitely going to have you on my show again. Just you this time. I just want to thank you guys. Thank
Thank
you.
you
It's been
so much.
honestly, there
Thank
are no
you.
words for
Thank you
this.
as
I
well.
think yeah, I think our guests have said it all, John. It's wonderful. Please, if you're watching this, there are so many parents that are with children that are dyslexic. Please share as much as you can. It's so important. John is truly that beacon of hope that we people and even adults who probably never got to deal with their learning disabilities can learn from and follow. So let's really try and share and share and share as much as we can and create that chain reaction, as John said. And yeah, in there, like you said, let's extend this virtual hug. I know, right? Let's do the chain reaction virtual hug. But thank you guys so much. I'll give it a minute. Hopefully they can come back. If not, you guys have been brilliant. All of you were watching on YouTube. Thank you very much. By the way, going forward, we will be streaming on both Facebook and YouTube live. So if you have family and friends who are not on Facebook, we'll be streaming live on YouTube. So make sure you connect. You share with them and help them connect. So if we don't get them, oh bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Ngum. Thank you, Gorete Experience, for waking us up and opening our eyes on to so many issues. No, thank you guys. Honestly, I'm learning a lot, a whole lot. I am so grateful for all of you who tune in and watch. So I'm just gonna give a minute or two. Hopefully they come back so we say proper goodbye. If they don't, then I would say goodbye on their behalf. But yeah, share as much as you can. And if you haven't done so already, for those of you who are watching for the first time, please subscribe to my page, and also on the Facebook page. Make sure you like it. Make sure you like it. And there's so much on there for you to watch. So just go back and watch all the shows. The shows on YouTube, the shows on Facebook. So go back and watch all of the shows. You're back. So we're going to be saying goodbye now, John.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Want to say goodbye? One last word to your guests, and then we're done.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great evening or morning or wherever you are, and keep doing what you do. Goodbye.
Bye, baby. Bye. So I'll see you. I'll talk to you and mom later. Thank you so much, baby. Good night, John. Thank you all. 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 You have been amazing. Thank you. So we're back on Wednesday next week. Today's Friday. Yeah. We're back on Wednesday next week. And I hope that you'll be here. You'll be here again for another, hopefully as edifying as this conversation has been on Wednesday. So thank you all. I appreciate your time. Please share. And especially this topic, because I know so many of us can benefit from understanding dyslexia and truly learning about it, and understanding that all is not lost if you have a child or loved one that's dyslexic, and also maybe hopefully identify it, because sometimes parents could be in denial. Help to identify it in a loved one or a friend's child, who knows. So thank you all. I'll see you on Wednesday, and make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook pages. Thank you. See you Wednesday. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.